Hello, YouTubers. Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I am canceling my live stream for today, Sunday. Okay, I left a post on the community post, but sometimes many people don't get that. So I'm putting out this short video to let you know first and foremost that I am canceling today's live stream. I am going to be going with my wife because we picked up her motorcycle yesterday and she wants to go practice in a parking lot before she hits the open road. All right, so I'm going to be doing that today. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I wanted to talk to you about a couple of things today. I wanted to tell you that you really need to start stocking up on whatever kind of fuel you need for this next coming winter. Here I'm thinking about, this is how a prepper thinks, ladies and gentlemen, or at least how I think. Here I am already thinking about next winter when right now it's below freezing outside. It's got to be about 30, 29 degrees because I've got frozen water everywhere on the ground. And I have a bucket of water or a jug of water that I keep out there that's frozen. So here I'm thinking about next winter already. Ladies and gentlemen, I called my propane company, the one that fills these big tanks right here. I'll see if I can put a picture of it here or wherever, but I'll put a picture of it. These two big tanks, these are 100-gallon tanks, or a little more than 100-gallon tanks, but they only fill them to about 80% or so. So let's call them 100-gallon tanks. And these two tanks are what feed my cooking range and also what would feed my emergency backup heater for my house. I have a Toyo stove, which works off of heating oil, and I have a backup propane heating system that's installed right next to my Toyo stove. I call it Toyo stove. It's really a Toyo heater or a Toyo Tomi heater. Very efficient. There are a dime a dozen here in Alaska. Very, very good machines. But I also had a direct vent propane heater installed right next to it for extreme emergencies because it does not work off of electricity. It's completely mechanical and it works off of propane. So these two propane tanks, they would heat my home for a full winter during the worst of times, right? If something really bad happened where I couldn't get a hold of heating oil, this 2 tanks of propane here would actually heat my whole house for a full winter. So I call them about every year around this time so that I can just get it topped off because I almost never use it for my backup heater. I just turn it on once in a while to make sure it's working okay. And I only go through maybe about, 40, 50 gallons of propane a year. So about half of one of these tanks here. So I call them around this time so they can come and fill it up and just top it off. Well, when I called them last time, I lost my breath because they are charging almost $9 per gallon for propane delivered. $9 a gallon, ladies and gentlemen. It's like $8.70 or $8.80, something like that. It actually comes out to about $9 a gallon because they also charge an environmental fee, service fee, all the fees that they put on there, right? They charge that on top of that. So $9 a gallon. I was like, oh my goodness. And I told the lady, I was like, well, you know what? I said, I'm just going to let these run dry and then I'll give you guys a call so you can come pick them up because I'm not paying $9 a gallon. Thinking that I would just go to the gas station and get a few more 100-pound cylinders that I can handle myself. Go to the gas station. The last time that I seen the price at the gas station, or the last time that I had one of those filled at the gas station, it was like $3.29, which wasn't great because it was about $1.20 more than what we were paying about a year and a half ago or so. But I was like, I'd rather pay $3.29 at the gas station. That in itself would pay for me to go out and buy a few more 100-pound cylinders. So I went to Home Depot. I bought 4 more 100-pound cylinders. And I bought these guys right here. I'll go ahead and leave a picture of them. That way you can see them. I bought these 4 100-pound cylinders. And when I bought the last 2 that I bought, that I'm using for the bunker over here, when I bought those, they were $156 each. I'm pretty good with remembering numbers like that because I'm a numbers guy. It's just everything else I can't remember. And that was less than 6-7 months ago. I bought those right before winter started here, and I intended on using them and am using them for the bunker here. 156 bucks. I went back $229. So $70, $73 more per. But I still purchased them because I did the math. And I figured that if I went to the gas station and filled them up for $3.29 a gallon, that one fill up for all four of them, that one fill up, which came out to about 118 gallons or so for all four to be filled. I actually think they overfilled them a little bit, but that's okay. I digress. So it was about 118 gallons for all four. So I figured, well, you know what? 118 gallons times 3, let's say $400, right? This is $3.29. Let's say 400 bucks. I paid $1,000, let's say, just shy of $1,000, like $900 for the tanks. So that's 1,300 bucks, I figured. $1,300. It would have cost me to have my tanks, my 100-gallon tanks topped off. Just 50 gallons, it would have cost me $450. So when I fill my 100-pound tanks up a couple of times, they pretty much pay for themselves. All right, that's what I'm figuring. Well, I get to the gas station to get them filled up, and check this out, ladies and gentlemen. Now it's over $5 a gallon. It's still worth it for me to get it over time. These tanks will pay for themselves by me getting them filled myself instead of having it delivered at $9 a gallon. But I couldn't believe when I saw this price, $5 and change per gallon. So if you need to heat your home with something other than like wood, if you use wood and you chop your own wood or something like that, but if you need to heat your home, if you live in an area where you have to have heat in the winter, you need to start thinking about that right now, because I see propane going up even more, all right, throughout the year. I also see heating fuel going up even more. Heating fuel especially, because heating fuel, in my opinion, is directly correlated to diesel, because they're pretty much the same thing. Heating fuel and diesel is pretty much the same thing. All right. It's just a little bit different in the additives and the things that they add to each of them, but they're pretty much the same thing. And I see diesel continuing to go up and up. So fair warning, if you're going to heat your home next winter, make sure that you start stocking up on that stuff right now, because it's going to get tougher throughout the year. Now, the second thing that I wanted to talk about is this, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, in the end, things will work out. In the end, we will prevail. Good will prevail over evil. There is one thing that is keeping this evil that is running the world, especially the United States of America. There is one thing that is keeping it alive, I guess you can say. But soon it will fade away. How soon, I'm not sure. I'm not a prophet. I haven't had any dreams or anything like that. But it's just common sense and it's mathematics. Ask yourselves, what is the one thing that gives these criminals in government, what is the one thing that gives them all of their power? Think about that. It's not really the law, okay? But think about this first before I get into that. You know, during this health crisis, a lot of people left their jobs. A lot of people were fired and things like that. But I would say that most people decided to succumb to, you know, the I'll say request, all right, of their employers to get the vitamin shot. A lot of people, I would say most, succumb to that request to get the vitamin shot, or else they have to leave their job. Why is that? Why? Because they needed an income. They needed the money. That's why they did it. Because most people in the United States, they live paycheck to paycheck. And they have to feed their family. They have to house their family, keep them warm, give their children clothes, stuff, just life, just everyday life. And I would say that most people that took that vitamin shot, that's why they did it. Not because they wanted to, but because in their minds, they needed to. Why? Because they were not prepared to say no, because they had not been preparing ahead of time. Ladies and gentlemen, I've stated several times that for a government to have a good foundation, that it needs two things. It needs a fair and just monetary system. It needs good money, all right? God's money, good money, not money that they make, all right, for their own benefit. It needs good money, all right? Another thing is it needs good morals. If you have a good foundation, a good financial and a good moral foundation under your government, then your government will do the right thing for its people, and they will understand what it is that they are there to do. I'm saying this because it will happen eventually. Eventually, we will have a major crash that it'll make the Great Depression look like nothing. It'll make the Great Depression look like that was just child's play. It'll make 2008 look like, wow, that was just a little blip in the road. We will have a major crash. Why is that? Because the fiat currency that the United States government / Federal Reserve, because they're the same, the fiat currency that they produce has literally enslaved the world. It has literally enslaved the world. And the world, ladies and gentlemen, whether you believe it or not, they have woken up to this. They have woken up to this more so in the last year or two than in the past. The world has woken up to this. And that, the fiat currency, that is what gives these criminals the power. That is what allows them to bribe people. That is what allows them to use that money to build munitions. It is what allows them to use that money to own other countries, to tell them, we'll give you a loan that they themselves know that country could never pay back. The same thing that China's been doing to Africa for a long time. We'll give you a loan that they know that they can never pay back, so that they can then give gifts of that country to their corporate friends. And what do I mean by giving them gifts? For example, they'll get with one of their corporate friends, one of their cronies, and say, hey, you can now go over there and run their electrical system because we're privatizing it because they couldn't pay back the loan. Hey, you can go over there now and run their water utility. I think it's Brazil that has a big water utility company that makes a lot of money because they got privatized because they couldn't pay their debt. I think it's Brazil. Don't quote me on that. It could be another country. But what happened is that this company went in there, they privatized the water rights, and then there were people literally living next to the water company, next to where they treated the water plant, who had no water in their home because they couldn't afford it, because they were charging so much for that water that the poorest people there could not afford water, even though the water was right next to them. So the world is waking up to what a hoax and a fraud the US dollar is. And it will come down. And when it comes down, ladies and gentlemen, it will take down the money changers. It will take them down. But it will be very painful for us as well. It will be very painful for everyone. That is why it is so important that we get prepared. Because that crisis will come and it will go, just like every other crisis. But the question is, are you going to be prepared for that? That's why I always say, get everything that you need, everything that you know you're going to need, everything that you use, get it in mass, and get it for the next 2 or 3 years if you can. If not, get as much as you possibly can put away, because you're going to need it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to need all of that stuff. Because when the money becomes worthless, let me ask you a question. If you're a police officer, if you're a fireman, if you're a nurse, if you're a doctor, when that money becomes worthless, are you going to work for that money? Are you going to go to work for money that will buy you almost nothing? No, and they will lose their power, ladies and gentlemen. This is why all of these things are happening now, in my opinion. All of these negative things that are happening now, not only in our nation, but throughout the world, is happening. It's because a lot of these things are planned. A lot of these things are planned ahead of time, years ahead of time. They are going to try to make it so hard on the average person. They're going to try to make it so difficult for them to survive that they will then give you an ultimatum. And they've already got this planned. They already have another financial system in the back burner waiting to come in after whatever black swan event happens, they can close all the banks, confiscate everyone's money, and then say, here, we're going to start out with this system, because people are going to be so destitute that they will they'll do anything they're asked, as long as they can just go back to what they think is regular life or normal life. So that is why we have to prepare. We have to make sure that we're prepped. That way, when the system does crash, that way we will have something to fall back on. That way we will have the strength. We, the people that actually love our country and love our countrymen, that way we can have the strength. And when they come to us and they say, hey, I'm going to stop the pain if you do this. I'll stop the pain and give you this. I'm going to give you this little electrical wallet, electronic wallet, and I'm going to deposit money in there every month and you'll be able to spend it. When they come to do that, ladies and gentlemen, or whatever it is that they put on the table, we can say, what pain? You're going to stop what pain? I have everything I need for the next couple of years. Let's see who can outlast who. That is what being prepared is about. It's about being able to keep your sovereignty, being able to keep your free will, being able to do what is best for you and your family, and not having to succumb to someone else just because they have the power over you, the power of resources. It's all about resources. They're keeping our resources from us by stealing our labor so that they can buy those resources and tuck them away. Either buy them outright or bribe people to destroy them. What is it, 30 million chickens that have been called? Turkeys? I saw Southern Prepper 1 this morning, and he said that he got a message from someone that works at an egg plant where they actually get eggs from 1 million hen, and that instead of sending those eggs to Walmart, they're having to send them to cold storage because no one's ordering them. With the shortage of eggs that we have now, we have millions and millions of eggs not being ordered from these farms, chicken farms, I guess you can call them, because they farm eggs off of the chickens. We have millions and millions of eggs not being purchased, even though there's a big shortage on eggs. But I digress on that. It's just I found that pretty interesting on Southern Prepper 1's video early this morning. So, the point is this, is that the system is going to crash. There's nothing that they can do about it. There's nothing that you or I can do about it. The only thing that we can do is to prepare as best as we can. If you can afford to prepare for your neighbors, prepare for your neighbors. Because like I said, a crisis is not going to last forever. So if you can afford to prepare for your family, extended family, then do that. I hear a lot of people say, hey, if you come to my door, you're not getting in. You never. But ladies and gentlemen, what it comes down to is that we're all human beings. Now, I'm not telling you to give up of what you have to give to someone else if you're in dire straits, if you need that. If someone came up to my door that needed food, and I knew that I was going to need my food so that my family can survive, I would almost not give any food at all. I would really want to. But if I knew for a fact that if I gave up that food, it was literally going to be taking food out of my family's mouths, I would not. But if I prepare now, if I prepare as best as I can now, maybe I can prepare a little more. Maybe I can get a little extra. Instead of going to that movie, I can go and maybe buy an extra 50-pound bag of rice. And with that, I may be able to, give charity. I know a lot of people don't agree with that. If they didn't prepare ahead of time, then, screw them. I'm taking care of mine. And I agree with that. Take care of yours 100%. But we're going to need each other in the days and the months and even years to come. We're going to need each other. And we're going to have to keep humanity intact so that we can strive when we make it to the other side. Because we don't want to get over whatever crisis they're going to throw at us. We don't want to get over that crisis and then just be animals fighting with each other. We want to get over that crisis and still have empathy and love in our hearts for our fellow human beings. I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that now. It's really early in the morning, actually. It's only about, 4:30, maybe 5 o'clock in the morning now. But I thought I'd come out and do this video so that I can put it out for you before the live stream starts. That way you can see that we're not going to have a live stream. And today is actually going to be a lot of fun. I'm very excited for my wife. She actually got her motorcycle yesterday, and we took her to the parking lot yesterday. we rented a little motorcycle trailer, took her to a big parking lot that was empty, and she, went around and she practiced. And today she's going to do the same thing before we return the trailer back. And then after that, she's just going to practice up and down our road, because we have a pretty long road that goes pretty long without a lot of traffic. But she's really happy about it. She's really excited. I'm really happy for her. So very happy that she was able to get something that she's wanted for such a long time. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? One of you might have been right. It looks like it's fun. So I might just take the same course that she took and see how I like it. And if I do, I'll look for a 20-year-old motorcycle or something like that, so that I can stroll around with the old wife here in our old age. All right. Having said that, hey, have a great Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for all of your support. I really do appreciate every single one of you that, stops and spends a little bit of time each day with me, comes and watches my video and supports me in the way that you do, right? So thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me. And thank you so much for being part of my life, all right? Have a great Sunday, and God bless every one of you.